All right, in this episode, we do the bat speed video for Mick Shizzle.
And getting better velocity on quick infield throws.
All right, Brent Porcio, Josiah Ward here at the @Top Velocity, hashtag Pitch Tip Show, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Musically @Top Velocity, hashtag Pitch Tips, baseball tips, ask your question, hitting tips, we'll answer on the show, or bat speed tips. So Josiah's, your first episode, right?
First episode.
Cool, so he's down here with everybody else. It's been pretty crazy. A lot of our pro guys are here, about to go off for the season. Camps are still in the book for spring. I know you guys are going into season. If you are not, or if you need to get into this training, if you are going to, get to a better place on the team or whatever, if for some reason this is the time for you, or you're just tired of waiting, we still got 3X camps in the book. So check those out under the dates. You'll see it go all the way to the summer. Also too, now's the time to start booking the summer, just because the summer's the biggest time of year, so everybody starts to fill up. So look at those dates. It's going to go through the spring, it's going to go into the summer, and come on down. Josiah might still be here. He's here trying to get his butt to low 90s to mid 90s and get some pro time. Tell him about why you came down. Give him a little something why you came down.
Well, I got to come to camp in November. And I'd been training the program a little bit, but I didn't really have a focus on what I was training, so I'm kind of just doing everything I can, hoping I'm hitting what I'm missing somewhere in the midst of it. So when I came to camp, got tore up by Brent, told me how much I suck, showed me everything I needed to do. I basically left here with a blueprint of what I was missing, what I need to do to get to where I want to be. So I went home and realized that if I'm going to do this, I need to do it now. So quit 2 jobs, moved here, having fun. It's a great atmosphere. It's awesome. You gotta love it. And he has a lot of potential.
Already was a high 80s, low 90s guy. We're just trying to get him more consistent low 90s and try to get to mid 90s. You're 6'7", 260. He's just got to get his hips and legs and core under him a little bit better, move his body a little better. And I think it's gonna happen. So we're excited. So keep an eye out for Josiah. Big things will happen. So it's cool. Let's get started. It's our favorite show today. Here we go. Mick Shizzle asks, please do the bat speed video. All right, the bat speed video. Josiah, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so Mick Shizzle, that's his name, right?
Yeah, Mick Shizzle.
You came out at him the other day, so I guess we need to do this bat speed video.
Every time I get on there, he says, please, God, do the bat speed video. So we got to do it.
So, but what do you think he wants? Like, what do you think he wants? I'm telling you, that was the original question, bat speed video. So what do you think he wants?
I have no clue, Mick Shizzle. I don't know.
Okay, so here we go. So on a serious note, we haven't biomechanically broke down hitting mechanics. We're starting the process if you watch some of the episodes on the show, but haven't officially done enough studies to break it down into a mechanic system with drills, and that'll come one day maybe. But we do have the 2X programs, which the programming for the lifts are power focused. They're going to develop elite power, speed, mobility, motor control, through your kinetic chain. That's huge. If you look at there's one great study out there, not many, that said Olympic lifting enhances dynamic movements, or it's the best at maximizing dynamic athletic performance, like jumping, running, throwing. Typical guys that come in here in high school and college that are hitters and pitchers, not only do their ball speed go up, but their bat speed improves, and they hit more home runs. So, so that's pretty much where we're going to go with this bat speed video. So why don't you talk about how you feel an Olympic-based approach would enhance bat speed and bat power?
Well, this is what I know. I've been a PO. I was even a PO in high school. Didn't hit very much. Before I moved here, I was working in a baseball academy, and every now and then I would screw around with the kids, and we would take bat speeds off the tee. And I was usually 94, 95, and I didn't really care. I just wanted to beat the kids and show them I was better than them. And I started training this program, and I didn't take a single swing for about 12 weeks. I was just focused on explosive power, Olympic lifts, and getting it to transfer to how I threw. And somehow I ended up messing around with him again, and I hit 101 off the tee.
Damn.
And I wasn't even training for bat speed, but I gained 7 miles an hour.
Right, and
I wasn't even training for it.
Right, and that's how it works. And I think hitting is an way easier conversion from the weight room or a power-focused weight training approach, like an Olympic approach, to the actual swing as opposed to throwing. You know, it's just a lot harder to enhance your power to weight ratio through your power cleans and then see a 6 mile an hour, 7 mile an hour jump on your fastball. It does happen, you know, but it's a lot harder transition just because in the biomechanics of pitching, there's so much more to, getting it up the kinetic chain. There's so much more because you're not using a bat. This is your only lever to making sure you're maximizing speeds at the end of the chain, as opposed to if I got a bat, I can keep the end of that bat behind and get that kind of late whip action or that late transfer of energy, which is so much harder to get when you're just using your arm. So the conversion to hitting is so much easier. So you're right. Sometimes just coming into an approach like the 2-inch approach, you're going to make that bat speed increase or that bat power increase. Now, I still don't think McShizzle is going to be happy. Do you think?
I don't know what.
So we got to give him something else, Josiah. So here we go. Let's go to some biomechanical tips. Right out of the gate, similar to hitting, if we can start with some more ground forces, that's why it typically goes up. So for your bat speed going 94 to 101 when you enhanced your power to weight ratio and your strength, it's more than likely because you were getting a little bit more power to the ground, which is what those lifts are training you to do. So in those biomechanical movements for a hitter, it's how you shift more weight into your front hip and how you stay loaded into your back hip longer before you transfer more weight and peak more speeds in your front foot. So obviously bat speed is going to really most effectively come from obviously being able to have the power to create more ground forces, but then technically doing it better. So I see a lot of young kids, they want to shift to their front legs and get out of their back hip really early, just like they do with pitching. Don't you see that?
Yeah, a ton. And I do know that just training these Olympic lifts and training explosive power and doing the plyo work and just, you know, my big thing was leg strength and explosive leg power, and I think just training that and training more front leg because I had a weak front leg, just training that approach, I go back to swing and I was able to transfer that weight into a strong
front leg,
extending front leg. Yeah. That, I mean, it's just like pitching. There's a separation factor to it. I know Josh Donaldson talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
He wants to land hips open, shoulders closed, hands back, and I mean that guy hits taters.
Exactly. So that goes up the chain. Once you get good, like he likes to have that leg lift, and he talks about loading into the back hip. Yeah. And then transferring that weight into the front hip. And I like the mentality of hitting behind the front leg, just like we want to pitch behind the front leg. Mm-hmm. You don't want to hit over your front leg. You want to hit behind your front leg, but still you want to transfer all your energy and weight into your front leg, but stay behind your front leg. I think that's the huge initial movement. And then, like you said, it's separation. When that hip is starting to rotate, he, like Donaldson says, keeps the elbow up and he scap loads against it and creates that separation, that little delay before the end of the bat, the handle of the bat, comes through. And he typically guides that with the front arm and tries to get the handle of the bat inside the ball. But the end of the bat stays fully loaded. So this pencil, the end of the bat is fully loaded, and that's what really creates the separation. So the separation is not only between the scaps pinching against the back hip, but when the barrel or the handle of the bat goes, the barrel of the bat stays all the way back, once again delaying it to where the last thing to happen is the hands to release the bat head, and that's when and the end of the whip, and all that energy goes. So if we just walk it from the beginning for McShizzle here, it's loading to the back hip, transferring his maximum force into front leg, staying behind the front leg not to get over it, separating scaps to hip, and then getting handle inside ball with barrel still back, and the very end letting all that energy unload into the ball. And it's not a swing anymore. It's getting your hands inside the ball after transferring all that energy up to the kinetic chain and letting it unload into the ball, not try to swing it around. All that energy is ready to release, pow, just like we would do coming out of maximum external rotation after we've gone through the lower half separation trunk tilts we just let it unload into the arm and into pitch release.
I think a lot of it is also just timing. I think I've noticed a big thing in youth coaching is just a lot of emphasis on just get your foot down early, get your foot down early. Well, if you're just focusing on getting your foot down early, then you're not going to have that separation. You can't just land with separation and hold it and expect to have that same bat speed. So having your weight come into front foot, opening the hips, and being able to release that into the whip instead of trying to hold it back, you're going to get more bat speed.
Yeah, and you're right. And putting your foot down early could prevent you from getting your hips to open. And Donaldson was making a point how it's really important to get your front foot open, your hips to open, but obviously you're still keeping that separation between your hands and your hips. So cool. It's more rotational with hitting than it is with pitching, but it's still the same concepts that we use in pitching to move power up the kinetic chain. Therefore, if you have more power as your power to weight ratios go up, then you're moving more power up your kinetic chain, which is really what it's all about, and that's where the bat speed is going to come from. And a lot of times, specifically where hitting, you don't even have to get better at the technique. You just got to get more power coming out of your body.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, you think we did it? You think he's going to be happy?
I hope so, man.
For the love of God.
I felt so bad for you, Nick Shizzle, for 3-4 months now. I'm sorry.
We did. We wore this guy out. We should I don't know what we should do for him. We should send him a gift or a sleeve. How about come to the next ABCA and I'll give you 10 of them. All right, well, cool. All right, good. Well, we got one more question. Here we go. Joseph Butler asks, how can I get good velocity on quickly released throws, such as those from the middle infield? All right, Joseph. So quick release throws on velo. It actually is going to be similar to what we have to do with a catcher. So in my pop time program for catchers, the pop up has the highest correlation to the pop to pop time. And you're always balancing two things. You're balancing time from receiving the ball to release, and then at the same time too, you're trying to get enough velocity at release because that influences time of the ball from your hand to the bag. But if you're having it, and it gets to the point where it's a balance. Like if I'm taking too long to throw 85, and I'm taking an extra 0.6 seconds to throw 85, and I could have thrown 81 in 0.1 second, then you might want to gear it back to 81. It might be less time to the bag. So that's where you're stuck as an infielder who's kind of having to make a quick throw. But he's trying to make a quick throw, and then he's rainbowing it over to first base, and the guy's safe. Mm-hmm. You might have taken 0.2 of a second longer to close your shoulders more and get more on the line. So I think that's where it comes from. You'll see a lot of middle infielders, quick throws, their chest is open, they just throw their arm back and wing it. The first thing you can do, and I think unfortunately in that position, you're actually going to work backwards as opposed to ground up. Because you're already moving and you're more likely fielding with your weight forward. You're not in a good position in your lower half. And the best thing you do is close your shoulders. I think, and this is something we would do with young kids. It's like, what do young kids want to do when they're young? They just want to throw with their chest open. The best thing you can do with a young kid is just get him to turn his shoulders, and then you can start teaching him how to move his mass and drive and enhance that separation. But I think for a middle infielder, the best thing you do to get a little more zip on the ball, if you're trying to make a quick throw, is just get your shoulders closed faster. I always felt like that in the outfield. When I was fielding the ball in the outfield and I wanted to make a quick throw, I would always fail to get my damn shoulder closed, and I'd release the ball quick, but I'd have nothing on the ball, or I would just rag my arm out. So I just started learning how, when I would field, to close my shoulders as quickly as possible, because I already had a lot of momentum in my body because I was moving to the ball, and that would always help me get a little more zip behind the ball and actually make a better throw as well. I mean, what do you think would add to a little zip on a quick throw like that?
Well, the one thing I know with the little work I have done with infielders as a coach is it all comes down to footwork mostly. And it's definitely true that a quicker throw is going to be better than a throw with more velocity. But it all comes to the footwork and the timing, and as you field the ball, having your weight going towards first, and being able to set your feet up quickly after you field and bring the ball up so that you can land in that powerful position, hips open, and make a quick throw, just like you said, with your shoulders closed. And I think it's cool we were talking about Donaldson, because they've compared him. They put him side by side with his hitting and his throwing from over at third base, and they're almost identical. So just landing with that back hip through with some power and timing that footwork up so that you can get in that position with shoulders closed.
And separate.
It's a little bit shorter arm path than a pitcher, but you're ready to put some power behind that ball and make it a quick throw.
That is a great point. So if you do have a little more time, as opposed to like literally get it in your hand and out, then yeah, feet work from the beginning is actually very critical to make sure that you're not all the way in your front foot. I mean, but if you're stuck there, I think that's where I was coming from. You're a middle infielder, you're out on your front foot and you're just trying to get there as quick as you can. Just closing your shoulders would be huge. But if you have a little bit more time, not getting to your front foot would be key. So fielding the ball and staying loaded in your back foot and getting your shoulders closed as quick as you can is huge. So that's where the footwork is key, and putting you in position to where your hips are closed as you field the ball, you're loading your back hip, and as you shift your weight, because it's not a lot of drive at that point, there's a little drive, as you shift your weight, and then it's going in how much we can separate, like you were saying, Josh Donaldson. And it is very much like a hitter because it's a little bit more compact, a little bit more rotational. It's not so much, sagittal and linear, and it's not so much same thing in your triple extension and your drive, and that's why we call it 2X in our 2X velocity program, because all we focus on is the ankle kick to the hip flexor, kicking the ankle through and driving the hip through, and then separating and going, and getting what linear movements you can. But usually when you're not loading and triple extending and creating these long explosive strides, your trunk's not going to be moving 25 inches forward. It's going to be a little bit quicker of a movement, but still, I don't want to be someone same thing in the infield who just fields and spins off, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be too rotational, so I do like to get a little bit of interlinear stuff because it helps me locate my ball better. If I'm going to really, hit the first baseman right in the chest, I'm going to separate, but I want to use whatever momentum I have to transfer into my trunk and get that good linear push to release, so I feel like I can keep that ball on the line. And a lot of times too, if guys are too rotational in the field, what's their ball doing? It's doing that. Mm-hmm. If you keep that good linear trunk, you typically keep a straighter ball, which is a better ball across the field. Yeah, good. So I think that was great. So I think when you're in a quicker throw, you might be thinking waist up, and then when you have a little more time to throw, like Josiah said, you got to get in your feet, and you got to get your feet work, and you got to get your drives going, and then you got to learn to separate and use more of the body at that point, because then you're going to get a better throw. If you have a question, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Musical.ly, at Top Velocity, hashtag pitch tips, hashtag baseball tips, hashtag question answered on the show. And 2X3X camps, come on down, train with you, train with us, train with Josiah, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah.